By the way, also breaking tonight, we have other breaking news and major updates to bring you from the Biden corruption probes. Now, according to Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, the FBI is now sitting on criminal allegations involving Joe, Hunter, and James Biden from over 40 separate confidential human sources. Meanwhile, earlier this week, Scott Brady, the former U.S. attorney for the Western District of Pennsylvania, told the House Judiciary Committee in a closed-door interview that the FBI literally hindered the Hunter Biden probe, and that special counsel David Weiss actually skipped a briefing on the Biden bribery allegations. Also breaking tonight, House Oversight Chairman James Comer is now demanding that the White House provide records proving that the $200,000 payment to Joe from his brother was in fact a loan. I guess that paperwork would be easy to produce. Here's when we lent the $200. Here's the proof that it was lent. There you go. Anyway, fellow House Judiciary Committee member Jim Jordan is with us. Well, you just heard from your new speaker. Yeah. Are you glad it's not you?
Well, I think your audience heard, Sean, what a good man Mike Johnson is, and I'm proud to have him as our Speaker of the House. He's worked on our committee. He's a man of just solid character, as you can see, a Christian man who cares about this great nation, and I think he's going to work his tail off. Plus, he's just, as you could see, just a sharp guy who's argued cases in front of the Supreme Court. He's the kind of guy we need at this particular point in American history. I'm proud to count him as a friend and proud that he's the Speaker of the House.
Let me ask you, Jim, as the head of this powerful judiciary, you're looking into the weaponization, whether our Department of Justice and our FBI have been weaponized. We have all this new information coming out every day. We have 3 committees really doing independent investigations, though they really do correlate and function as one big one. On the issue of what we found out about these 40, people that real sources to the FBI, and you read the story about how it was not brought to the attention, how the FBI and the DOJ seemed to do nothing about it. This is where the first 1023 form came, isn't it?
Right, and all that finding that Mr. Grassley talked about, Senator Grassley talked about, was buttressed by what we learned in the deposition with U.S. Attorney Scott Brady earlier this week. Because Mr. Brady was tasked by the Attorney General of the United States on January 3rd, 2020, Sean, to be the clearinghouse for all information related to Hunter Biden and the investigation and Ukraine. And so he goes to the FBI, Mr. Brady does, and says, give me that information. I want to take a look at it. We'll get it to the proper U.S. attorney who's handling the investigative work. And the FBI didn't tell him about the confidential human source for 6 months.
Congressman,
6 months.
Congressman, I got to stop you. Apparently, airstrikes have taken place. Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon right now. Jennifer, this sounds like huge news.
Sean, we can report, based on senior military sources, that U.S. warplanes have carried out airstrikes tonight inside Syria against Iranian proxy forces. We don't know the number of strikes. We were told earlier today to expect that perhaps F-15s and F-16s would be involved in the airstrikes, but we don't have confirmation yet about how many warplanes. But those strikes have been carried out. I'm told it is in response to the more than dozen strikes against U.S. bases. The message is a clear message designed to Iran and its proxy forces to stop carrying out these drone and rocket attacks against U.S. bases. But I'm told that the planes have safely left the area and that the airstrikes are complete at this time. They were targeting multiple locations inside Syria and Iranian proxy forces, Sean.
It's so important, Jennifer. Thank you for that breaking news, especially in light of the fact that American forces have been attacked by both Iraq and by Syria. We appreciate that news. We continue, though, with Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan. I want you to respond to that. And in the less than 2 minutes we have left, tell us about this interview that you did in your committee and what you learned.
Well, with Scott Brady, we also learned that I asked Mr. Brady in that interview, Sean, when did you learn about the laptop? And he got a smile on his face and he said, when the story went public in the New York Post on October 14th. So they didn't even tell Scott Brady about the laptop and the pertinent information on that laptop about Ukraine and Hunter Biden's dealings with Ukraine. That shows you what Speaker Johnson talked about, how these agencies have been turned against the American people when they won't share that information with the individual tasked by the Attorney General of the United States to look into this and filter it out the way it's supposed to be. That tells you how bad it is. And then you have what Senator Grassley has added to that here in the last couple days with these 40 individuals. That's how serious the situation is and why we're proceeding in our impeachment inquiry phase of our oversight work.
Real quick, Jim, you know, the fact that Syria and Iraq have been American soldiers have been attacked in both Syria and Iraq recently. My initial instinct is to be glad that they fought back. They fired back.
Yep.
I'm happy at that news. Your reaction, quick.
No, the same here. I want to give the details, but you know, when someone attacks United States servicemen and women but we have to respond back. So I want to see what's happening here. But it just shows you how serious this overall situation is and why we need strength projected from the Oval Office.
All right, Jim Jordan, thank you as always. That's all the time we have left this evening. Stand by, though, continuing coverage on all the breaking news tonight.